reflection, bro. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Innate State. Russell, nice to see you, bud.
Thank you.
Today we've got Jeval. He's joining us, and we're going to have a nice discussion with him about music and all sorts of interesting things. And right now we're just going to have our quick 5 or so meditation, five or so minutes, just to center ourselves.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
I'll just take us into it. It's very simple, just about breathing, and so it's not complicated, but it does work. Okay.
Thanks.
Sweet. Okay. Just take a couple of deep breaths. And then just on every out breath, allow yourself to just relax a bit more. Just relax your body. On every out breath, just relax more and more. when you're ready, you can slowly bring yourself out. Jeval, welcome.
Thank you.
Russell.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bud. How did that feel for you?
It felt very calming.
Yeah.
I feel a lot more grounded. I feel a lot more centered.
And it also, it's not even long, actually. It's not a long meditation.
No.
But it's just like a little taste, and it's something people could do even if they're stressed during the day or whatever the case. Take 5 minutes, and you would feel more centered. Like even in a work situation, for instance,
Yeah.
you can pull yourself back to yourself. Do you do any meditation? Is there something you do, or is spiritual work at all? Or practice, should I say?
Yeah, I practice quiet time in my breathing. Also, I would say a form of meditation.
Yeah.
I try to spend a bit more time by myself in quiet spaces. I actually do a few things that make it slightly more immersive. So from lighting incense and just...
So a bit more of a holistic kind of a
Yes.
feel. Maybe music.
Yes, so I play, depending on the day, I play a certain frequency.
Okay, kind of, what are they called? Schumann or?
Binaural beats.
Binaural beats,
binaural beats,
but
yeah.
these are more related to the chakras.
Okay.
So depending on which day it is, I'll work through a chakra color and play that frequency in the background.
And then you'll focus on that while you meditate, or meditate like on that specific chakra. Would you do that as well?
So in most cases, I've tried to also incorporate that part of it where I am doing affirmations or just practicing the meditation with that purpose. But I think also just with that frequency itself, it allows me to go into the space where my focus is actually just working.
And you go deeper. Do you find yourself going a bit deeper in the meditation?
Yeah. So that's why I think with the incense, with the sound frequency, there's different parts of my senses that are being activated or responding to that in the moment. I also set out, I love collecting rocks.
Yeah, like crystal kind of rocks, or just rocks from hikes?
All
over the
types,
place.
yeah. And I love bugs, but I'm gonna get to that.
Bugs.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a cheap hobby.
But these specific stones have, well, for me at least, they're hand-picked few that I just lay out and
kind of on an altar kind of a thing.
Got a space. I've been gifted a mat that I use, and I have a prayer shawl.
What is that?
So it just in the moment. So the mat that I use is when I go into that space, I prepare myself. I sort of clean myself first, and then go onto this mat, and then cover myself.
With this shawl?
The shawl, yes.
Okay, so it's kind of a sacred shawl kind of a feel.
Yes, it was my grandma's.
Oh, awesome.
She was gifted it by her sister. Her sister traveled to Jerusalem, and it's a talit, so it's actually a Jewish prayer shawl. The mat was gifted to me from a friend of mine that follows Islam. And then, I use it.
You kind of incorporated it.
Yeah. I was raised in a Christian home.
Oh, were you Christian? Okay.
Yes. But my openness to spirituality and the things around me. So that for me allows me to just keep it more sacred and just with my connection as well to myself again, and then what I'm trying to receive in the moment. Because again, that quietness, most of the time my mind is quite busy.
Yeah. Does it ground you? Do you feel less
Yes.
active in the thinking?
It's almost like going for a walk, right? You know, after the movement and the walk. But this is, I think for me in the moment, it literally is like, especially practicing the breathing. One of the most, I mean, we're always breathing. People, the first thing you do when you get shocked or, you know, you stop. And it's such a big thing that we fail to consider around just ourselves and coming back to our square. So yeah, definitely for like a practice of morning meditation or trying to start my day off in a better way before anything else of the
Before work
external world.
or looking at your
Yes,
phone or whatever the case may be.
yes, because
Yeah.
it's very easy to get distracted, but definitely.
Do you somehow incorporating Christianity into it? Like prayer, for instance?
So I've tried to just rather send blessings. I would consider it still prayer because that's what I've been brought up to know it as.
Yeah.
But I send all the love and blessings to everybody as far as I can mention all of their names. So
No, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just curious.
No, I mean, I incorporated by for my family, for my friends,
Yeah.
you know, for the people around me, for people that don't have love in their hearts or are not experiencing it, you know, people that just need it, right? I think we
Yeah.
all just need a bit of love.
100%.
And if I can share that good energy, I pray for the strength to continue for everything that I've asked for, that I have the strength to do these things.
Yeah.
Because I believe that the prayer for me is sort of my manifestation.
Yeah.
And how
There's
I'm trying
power
to,
in it. There's power in the
in
prayer
the
as well.
word. Yeah.
I didn't grow up Christian,
Yes.
but I have done a lot of spiritual work for many years. But I know, but there's definitely, there's a place for everything, I believe, you know. I think a lot of the time Christianity is frowned upon, especially from the spiritual kind of community, should I say.
Yeah.
But I think there's a place, and I have seen some miracle stuff happening. I'm not saying I'm a Christian, I'm not, but I've
Yes.
seen it. So you can't discount it, you know. I just feel often they portray it as there's only one way, but I do believe there's many ways,
Yeah.
you know, from my perspective.
I think understanding the Christ consciousness a bit more, and taking from those aspects. I feel because of the way I've been brought up, I've had exposure to a lot of different backgrounds and religious upbringings. So it sort of allowed me to experience God in different ways, from different backgrounds. And I feel that there's a lot of times with when it comes to religious aspects that we are rather advocating towards one thing, and that in itself is the answer, is the oneness. We are all form as part of one, and people forget that we are human first, as humans towards each other before. If we created in God's image, and you know, God should be ever loving because we are creation.
100%. And also, I think a lot of it boils down to people have their own ideas, or my way is the right way, your way is not the right. All that kind of stuff. I mean, there's been so many wars fought over it. It's ridiculous. But at the end of the day, I think if you discover that peace within yourself, you know what, that aspect of God that's within, you'll be accepting of whatever's going on outside of you, you know, with other people, for instance, because that sacred place is already here. We just, a lot of that stuff is belief systems, and a lot of it's taught and indoctrinated into people, you know, from childhood or whatever the case is. And then they kind of only believe one way.
Yeah,
but I think everything's got its place, you know.
I think we need to just be kind towards each other. We need to, again, especially with everything that's happening around us at this point in time, start putting back the unity and community.
I like that. The unity in community.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's something that
Yeah.
we're trying to go for,
Yeah.
because even in our personal spaces, we're experiencing that there is some sense of divide. And what's the things that bring us together? There's so many things, especially, let's just consider the fact as South Africans, so many things that bring us together. If we look at it through music, through food, through
Yeah.
fashion, through art, the cultures might seem so foreign, but the more we learn about each other, the more we see we are very, as much as we are unique, I think South Africans have a very unique connection to each other, very warm, very loving. But external factors that, again, the same way in religion, external factors, I think, take away from us as humans just wanting to connect to each other and how much we can.
And I think it boils also down to survival factors.
Yeah.
You know, people living day to day, they're more concerned about their next meal perhaps than
Yes.
being kind.
Yeah.
You know, not
It
everyone,
happens.
but it's there. You know, you've got to also take into consideration, you know, what people are going through, because everyone's going through their own little bit of
Yes.
internal turmoil, or whatever you want to call it, and suffering. I say it's more mental suffering a lot of the time, but when someone is fixated on that stuff, it's difficult for them to open up to others.
It's very hard. I know in terms of my personal upbringing as well, we, let's say, grew up in an environment where we were exposed to a lot of things, different spectrums of life, very different spectrums of life.
For example,
So I grew up in a place called Windsor in Randburg, and when we moved there, initially, which was in 1997, it was an extremely clean and very well-kept area. The area itself was very pristine. It was run a certain way, and it almost doesn't make sense if you go into that area now and look at, I mean, the things that surround it. You've got golf course, you've got a really big mall. It's central to everything. I'm also just trying not to mention names of those places.
Yeah.
But you go into that area now and it's unrecognizable. It's just been run into a very different direction. So it almost doesn't make sense.
You mean with development kind of angle?
There is a lot of there's a lot of drugs on the streets. There's a lot of homelessness. There's influx
so it's kind of
yeah.
it's gone down. It's
a lot,
suppressed,
a lot.
yeah.
And it really, like I'm saying, if you have to go and look at the surrounding spaces, it almost doesn't make sense.
Especially when you compare it to what it used to be.
Yes. So I mean that's happening all over. It's not just in one space.
No.
If we're looking at the deterioration of our country as a whole, and then what impact that's been having on everybody. Everybody has, everybody, especially in Joburg. Well, that's what I feel a lot more. And when you go out of the city, you can actually feel that there's none of this tense tightness.
Joburg has got an energy about it.
It's a definite.
No, for sure. Joburg is that. You talk about Joburg, and I traveled overseas quite a bit when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I found the energy of New York similar to the energy of Joburg.
Yeah.
Which is a very, like, a driven place.
It's
a bit more intense, Yeah.
You get both sides. A lot of people come here with that sort of, I would say, like Hollywood syndrome. And this is the place, and it's a place of God, and it's a place of opportunity, and it is.
Yeah.
But opportunity is where you find it. I guess in other places, it's just not as affluent. So Joburg will always be the hub. There'll always be people drawn to it. But I feel that a lot of people come here, and especially my parents moved here for that same reason. So that's where I can say the perspective comes from immediately, because my parents were very poor in their upbringing.
And the
let's say,
they had opportunities in Joburg.
yeah. So
Yeah.
their upbringing, they really come from underprivileged backgrounds,
Yeah.
and at some point, and that was a collective with our family having to work together to collectively get things happening for each other. And my parents moved up. I mean, my brother was born in 87 and they left him with my gran in Dubs. So they're originally from Durban. And then they moved up. They had to leave him because they couldn't, obviously afford this.
To look
Yes,
after him
yes.
at this
And
time.
I'm a product of Hillbrow in 1990. So it was a very
Yeah, and
different
Hillbrow
time then,
back
hey?
in those days, but it wasn't an easy place. Hillbrow
Yeah.
was always a bit rough,
But it was a
Yeah.
buzz, you
But
can,
it was happening there.
yeah.
We used to
And
go out there sometimes,
exactly.
Yeah.
So knowing from this sort of backgrounds and knowing what my parents sacrificed and came up, and it definitely wasn't easy, but for both of them at this point in time, very thankful that they're still both alive. So thanks to my parents for having me, but also having certain perspectives on growing up and seeing the world around me. So I can say that I know people that from hobos to CEOs,
Yeah.
and treat them just with the same
And at
respect.
the end of the day, they're still people.
They're still people,
That's the
love
bottom
them all
line.
the same,
Yeah. Because not everyone's got going to experience the same reality. We all, just because someone's on the street and someone's driving a Ferrari, they're still human beings.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. But we judge them. That's where the catch comes. That humans, their nature is judging all day long.
Yeah. And even with those titles, then to call somebody a shame, like they are, again,
You're
they are
labeling
firstly,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, you're labeling
and
them,
then that's
so-
what they see themselves
Yeah.
again as the same thing with your words are so powerful in how
Yeah.
you see the world and what you create. So, those are people that are just less fortunate in the moment that just deserve. I've literally gone to somebody once and just to actually just see them and give them a hug and tell them I love you, for that person, it meant the world,
And it
then-
might be the difference between like him wanting to commit suicide the next day. Who knows? You don't
Precisely.
even know. Or you've just turned their day around just by act of kindness, being nice to someone. But so often when someone's not nice back to you, then
Yeah.
suddenly you don't want to be nice to people again.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
also a thing. You know what I mean?
No,
Then you
precisely.
be nice without expecting it back.
Yeah.
That's another level of putting it out there. You want to be kind without expecting kindness back.
Expectation.
You can't expect it back because not everyone's going to be open to it.
And that actually came very big into perspective for me, living abroad and seeing how people interact in a different space other than home. And I've been all over South Africa, and it can be quite a daunting place when you don't know the area or
Yeah.
you don't know people there. Especially out of Joburg, because everybody sort of knows everybody here, or the
The lay of the land.
yeah. So when you go out of here and then you experience certain things, you literally have to get so accustomed so quickly to those spaces. But I can guarantee you that in most places that I've been to here, people are still very helpful. People are still open to greeting. Just
Yeah.
the simple thing is greeting each other.
Where were you overseas predominantly?
I've been through a few places in Europe, but in one of my jobs I traveled, I was in Sweden for a bit.
And were they friendly or not so much? 'Cause
when the sun was out.
The Europeans aren't they're not necessarily the friendliest, though.
When the sun was out and when they had one or two in their system, it was
A couple of vodkas, then those stupid feeling, then they became a bit friendly.
It's a very cold country, so for most of the year it's cold. So
Yeah.
it's understandable. But if you're just asking somebody for directions or something, and You know, they're very reluctant and very closed off, and you know, it's not their way of doing things. And I'm like, I'm South African.
Yeah, we're a mixed match, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was quite interesting because, you know, going there and thinking I'm going to be exotic, and there's a influx of
I'm a rebreed
and it was, you know, it was quite interesting to see their demographics, you know, and then having to explain how I'm South African.
Yeah.
You know, for them, that's I am my nationality, and I'm
like,
proud
how's
of
it possible?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
you look Indian,
Yes.
but you South African, and you speak English.
And there's a lot of
like,
Indians
that's like
there.
complicated. It is a bit complicated.
Yes, and there's
You know?
a lot of Indians from India there. You know, the way I was brought up, I have cultural Indian heritage, but I'm so multiculturally raised that for me, I just feel like I'm a man of the land. So,
But that's better.
yeah,
You know, that's better because you're kind of open to
everything.
You've had experience doing this and that. You traveled, etc. It's
Yeah.
great. But I want to ask you a bit about the music stuff. But,
Yeah, sure.
But because earlier on we were talking about the frequencies
Yes.
of when you're meditating. Okay. Now that stuff is affecting also frequencies in your brain.
Yes.
And so what the frequencies in your brain affect how you also how it influences your body and how you experiencing music, for instance.
Yes.
So now I'm quite intrigued by the way the music has a way of, especially electronic music, has a way of altering your state, because it does. It can send you into a trance or hypnotic kind of a state. And explain a little bit about I know you're involved with something that's quite exciting. Tell us a little bit about it, Jeval.
Okay, so I'll start with the sound, right, and connection to sound. And if we understand that everything vibrates, so part of the 7 Hermetic principles, everything vibrates, and everything is basically, if you have to look at collective resonance of a sound frequency, it creates a shape. So based on everything being vibration, our collective consciousness, or what we experience in this reality, and then even for our bodies to be formed this way, is through holdings of certain frequency. Frequency has been, from the time you are in the womb, the first thing you feel is the heartbeat, and that is the beat of your life, of the rhythm of your being. And all music, I mean, music as a whole, everybody, just because it's electronic music, but we can consider certain factions, but music as a whole for everybody resonates a certain frequency in them. And for us personally, so I've been exposed to all different types of music growing up. I just love sounds. So music has, for a big part of my life, also allowed me to experience and feel certain emotions and express certain emotions that I could not otherwise experience, because my mind either blocks it out as something foreign, or I just don't have that connection. So I, from a young age, exposed to very different types of music. I love classical music. I love jazz. I love hip hop. I love metal. And having all of these exposures, one thing I can say from my family, they enjoyed a good party. And I was exposed to rave music at a very young age.
How were you?
The Bump collection, Bump CDs. We were all there. My first Bump CD.
My Bump CD.
Yeah.
It sounds funny. High energy.
I think it was
80s
mixed by
mixtape, 90s mix.
Ricardo da Costa.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, classic, eh?
And my first Bump CD that I ever owned was in 2001, which was Bump 7.
They've been around. They've been
Yeah.
bumping it out for a while.
Yeah, Darude Sandstorm was released on that bump.
But wait, you were probably,
commercially,
in high school or something, or what?
No, I was in grade 5.
Oh,
I was
okay,
in
so youngin'.
2001. I was in
Yeah.
grade 5. Yeah, that was a good time for me. A lot of good music came out that time. I was also exposed to Limp Bizkit.
Linkin Park.
Yeah,
those were
Linkin Park
those
was
kind
a
of
few years later. I think
rap rock
2000.
kind of bands, eh?
New metal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it.
So with the rave music, like being exposed to it at such a young age, there's just something about that frequency that always stood out.
Like through it's like the repetitive beats. Actually,
We would buy the bump CDs until a certain point, just because ATB used to release, and then ATB is responsible for a good few classics, especially with the more uplifting trance. And I got to go to my first trance party, which was H2O.
yeah, the classic guy in
Yes.
Boxburg, eh?
So H2O was my first, and that was I think in 2009 or 2010. And I went to a couple of those. I went to ESP, I think, when they still had Psytrance floor. We would go literally.
But there
just for
wasn't
them.
ESP Joburg.
No. It was the one in Rambo.
Yeah.
But thank you to the people that had or still own the place. These are all building blocks. I mean, going to Carfax at a young age.
It's kind of
well.
as you're developing.
Yeah. So those were like spots that really introduced me into the electronic scene, at least, or the underground scene, or the rave scene. I would go to normal, like the commercial spaces a lot as well. We would do club events at, there was a club called Jet. We would do, and that was by the Dome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, back in
Jet,
the day, it was
never
Party
heard of
House.
it. Yeah.
And yeah, being in the scene from just after high school or around high school onwards. My first club that I actually ever went to was called, or the event was called Natural Groove, or the club was called Natural Groove, and Lady Leah had just released Catch Me
I
If You
remember
Can.
her. She's still around, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lady Leah, I think, I was 17 at the time, and we paid the bouncer like $20 to get in.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was such a joy. Funky house was really big at that time.
Yeah, for sure.
And the house scene, South African house, that
I used to enjoy some of that house. I used to enjoy it.
Yeah, it was so good. We used to look forward to the Alti Mix at 6 a lot, especially Fridays for DJ Kent.
What was that? What radio was it on station?
5FM.
Was it on 5FM?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So electronic scene has always been in my heart. I then went to my first open air festival,
Kind of a outdoor festival rave kind of thing.
which was in 2017, which was Twilight.
Oh, was it Twilight? Okay.
Yes.
Was that one of their first ones?
I don't
No, they've
think
been
so.
around
No,
like
they've
20
been around
years,
for
hey?
a while.
Yeah, they've been a long
But it was
time.
just my first one.
Yeah.
And they had the drum and bass floor, which was, and then the Psytrance floor. And yeah, that's where I felt at home.
Did you feel like there was a
finally-
bit of a calling there? I'm going to do something with this.
I just felt safe around my people.
Yeah.
Like your tribe.
yes.
Was the techno tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You connected.
I finally found a space where I felt more understood
Okay.
in the music and what I felt, and just my connection again to nature, to the things around me, being outdoors, connection back to myself through the music. And yeah, it went on. I think then COVID happened shortly after that. I didn't really go to any other raves for some time after that. And after COVID, that was a big one. The event scene took quite a turn.
Yeah, it took a knock.
And I was very fortunate during COVID to meet a friend of mine. He was a neighbor at the time. And again, connection through music, through Everything in Its Right Place by Radiohead.
Okay.
And that's how we became friends. And he introduced me to a friend of his whose cousin was doing raves and invited me for an event. And that event was called Nostalgia, drum and bass.
And what were you there just as to Joel?
Yeah,
were you
I just went to go check it out.
Yeah, you weren't doing, it wasn't kind of like
I wasn't looking at
work
doing
yet.
any events
Yeah.
at that stage.
Yeah.
I was in international corporate events and I left it, and I was just, I don't want to be around anything to do with running events anymore or in that space for some time.
You wanted a break.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
after COVID as well, like just to go out again, it was a big thing. But I really loved drum and bass. I used to use it a lot, especially liquid drum and bass for concentration when I would do when I need to just focus on tasks.
I don't know liquid drum and bass. Do you know liquid drum and
Yeah,
bass?
I listened to it.
What is it? I don't know. What does that
It's
sound?
a lot
I don't know
more
that sound.
melodic and uplifting, and it's nice, like rolling rhythms, but
Okay.
it's very, I think it takes you more into like a, that binaural beat sort
Like
of
a
sound.
deeper state.
Yeah, it's very nice and
Okay,
calming.
okay.
Can get right filthy as well, but
But it's not too grindy.
no, it's not like, it's
not
not
heavily
like,
grindy, eh?
it's not like neuro or jump up or, it really.
There's just too many. There's
it's
just too
calming.
many genres, bro. I don't even know. No, it's ridiculous.
It's really calming. It can get you into a flow state.
Okay.
So that's what I would use it for. And especially because I needed to keep at a certain energy level. So that BPM, I think it's about like 170 up, around 174.
It's pretty flipping fast. Eh?
Yeah, it would keep me busy and in that space. So the drum and bass for a very long time. And I was like, oh yeah, I hadn't been to a drum and bass event in Josie prior to that other than Twilight. So I went to check out Nostalgia, which was hosted. It was literally one side of the bar. It was like, I think 20 people at the time.
Oh, just a small little gig. Eh?
And then I bump into Dagan, which is my friend's cousin, who is hosting the event with a good few of our other friends in the scene. And this is how I met Dagan, who's another part of the Bush Mob.
Okay.
So this is how it all ties up, and speak to Dagan, and we start hosting Nostalgia together.
Oh, did you get involved?
Yeah, something about it.
Yeah.
It just then
Something
and
was
there, I'm
talking.
like, oh,
Yeah.
I found home again.
You're like, yeah, you wanted to get involved. Yeah.
And-
it was time.
Yeah, and just him as a person, we've been through a lot together. But there's just, our connection to each other, and he's really good at what he does.
But are you DJing as well?
Yes, so I've always been around it.
Yeah.
My friends always had decks growing up, and even from vinyls.
So
we
you
would
have been
mess
you messed
yeah.
around for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've always, and that was my friend Ramon. He exposed me to a lot. He's an incredible, gifted individual, especially with the music, and exposed us to a lot growing up. But also allowed us to play a lot, and that's where the music thing started happening, or getting more into the drum and bass scene. We'd go to a lot of the events. We hosted quite a few, and then I also, because again through my personal experiences, I left the scene for some time, for about 3 years.
Was that, sorry, if you want to touch on that, was that because of drug related?
Look, it was...
When I say drugs, I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
talking about drug addicts, substance abuse.
Yes, no, sure. I'd say, the alcohol, there was a lot of,
Okay.
the party life, really.
No, for sure, it's a scene.
Influence.
Yeah,
and that wasn't even
everyone's going
influenced by
crazy.
the music. That was something that I had long-term struggles with in the background through my personal experience and then also association. So people, places, things, the things that I would be around or be influenced by. Nothing becomes a habit just once off. That's what I feel personally. It starts off by maybe
it slowly
it's a little,
builds up, and also you need to I can talk from my own experience. Also partied, etc. And then there was a time when I didn't see my friends for years, and I had to pull back from them, because just by associating with them made you want to go back to whether it was smoking doob or I don't know, trying ecstasy or whatever the case may be. But you had to pull back, sort your own shit out, and then that didn't mean you stayed friends with them, because often you didn't, because your connection was
those
partying.
things.
Now, when you pulled back and you weren't doing that, suddenly that connection was broken anyway. But it was necessary to get yourself sorted, because at the end of the day, to sort yourself out is number one.
Yes.
It's not about staying friends with people.
Precisely.
Yeah.
I think that was the curiosity behind it first, like especially like when you're young, everybody's drinking, everybody's doing this. It's actually a social norm. People look forward, like when they're 18, it's not like, oh, I can go vote or I can do other responsible things, like I can drink now. So
and it gets abused.
Yes. So especially like when you're not guided on certain, well, you're experiencing life. Life is going to be experienced this way. When you started, again, curiosity, then, you start doing it a bit more frequently, then it becomes a habit, because then you're doing it with everything you associate it. By the Friday afternoon, you're like, oh, I'm really looking forward to a drink now.
Yeah, it's a habit
South
now.
Africans, it's
Yeah,
like
it's a
part
habit.
of our culture.
100%,
dude. Going into that, and then for a very long time, I mean, I fell into very deep depression, extremely deep depression around COVID time as well, and pulling myself out of different areas. So again, the things I associated with, and it took me a long time. It took me up until 2 years ago, and it's literally this month, that's 2 years ago, that I was afforded the opportunity to go to a facility to work on myself.
Did it assist you?
It gave me the tools. I think, those places that exist, and we can say that maybe they created the problem, then they could create the solution, right? But for the fact that those places exist, we have to be very thankful, because those people have nothing else. I had nothing else in them. I didn't even have myself, but I had a loving family, and I had loving individuals.
And that's a big thing in itself.
Some of those people don't even have the family, because they've literally been written off. They don't.
Their parents are like,
I don't
want to see you
whoever
again.
it is around them, their wives, their kids, there's so many different factors to it. And that's where I had to see again just how privileged I am to still, even at this moment, still be alive to be telling this story. Every day when I wake up, to be grateful for these opportunities that have been gifted to me by the universe, by my higher power, whatever it is that I am experiencing as something that's assisting me in this space by myself, because I'm taking the action to do these things.
Do you feel that you've kind of turned more inwards? Because often, like, I'm not an expert on addiction, but when people get involved into these habits, it becomes an addiction, etc. There's something that they're chasing on the outside, and there's pain on the inside, and that's kind of a balm. It's, like the alcohol or whatever whatever substance it may be.
Factor.
And it often falls back to like childhood traumas. There's pain and stuff that needs to be released. But the abuse is a constant, like, it just covers the surface, because the people they don't know how to get deeper. They don't know how to get through those issues that they're carrying around with them.
You can't process it properly. That's why
So
you turn to
I feel once that stuff's processed, generally someone should come out of there feeling better and not necessarily turn back. But I don't know if those places go into that.
Look, so
Do they?
So the places run a program, right? The programs are quite extensive, depending also on where you are. Like, you can get both sides of the spectrum. I was also very lucky to see both sides of the spectrum, and it was
What do you mean by both sides?
so you get your, let's say, your higher end facilities and your entry level facilities, as any place.
So
right?
there's quite a difference there, I'm
There
sure.
is quite a difference. I think at the same time, the people that you would meet, and then also the way that they take care of the patients, how they run their programs. I honestly feel that in those times, so I think I read a stat once in this book called The 12-Step Buddhist, about probably like 60 to 80% of people, when you're saying traumas, past traumas or things that they haven't actually dealt with, that's what leads to forms of addiction. And I can agree that that was something for me. I know what traumas I was going through, and I know what I was trying to either numb or have a different connection with. And like you're saying, so a lot of the work that I've done now that's helped me to this point is through introspection and working on myself, on my shadow self, on just the things that make me me.
But also that's how you grow spiritually.
Yeah, you find a lot of people, and that's the with the forms of the methods that I've tried to use as well. A lot of people speak against certain things. Firstly, because they don't have the knowledge. Secondly, once they have the knowledge, they fear themselves. Most people, you can go to somebody and say, bro, that person said something like, I'm not scared of him, I'm not scared of them, I'm not scared of anybody. And then you ask them about themselves. They're like, I will never go there. I'm so scared of what's going to come out. And you're like, it's really like, now imagine the people that are around you that are experiencing, they literally experiencing that. So they feel like maybe have this fear of you that you don't even realize because you're so scared of yourself to work on yourself. And you tried to fill it in with other things.
Yeah,
but
because it takes a lot of serious honesty and strength to even go into those places that people don't want to see.
It's hard.
There's a serious amount of introspection that's required, and it's not easy. And just to work, just because you went into something and you cried for 5 minutes doesn't mean it's done, buddy.
It's a daily
It could
practice.
take 6 months. That stuff needs to, and it's about being absolutely honest with yourself. And that is the difficult part, is that we're not honest with ourselves. We hide all that shit, put on a nice face, and we're friendly to the world. But there's a lot of stuff inside that hasn't been dealt with. And you're never free until it's out. You can't be free while you're still suppressing it.
Yes, definitely.
It's not possible.
One of the things that I was also having to ask myself is like, what masks am I wearing and why? So because I'd been in a space, and that also came with a lot of people pleasing and like just needing acceptance.
Yeah, we've all been.
Like,
I used to be the same, buddy.
Yeah,
Let me tell you. Yeah.
You know, that fear of being alone. And it's like, looking at the people around me at that time, I mean, again, I need to be thankful for everything that happened the way it happened so that I could have this realization now. If I didn't have the realizations and I wasn't working towards trying to be better, because I can say all of this now and I feel so much better and I'm living this path and it shows. But I know that I've hurt a lot of people. I've done a lot of damage to other people that I don't even know of. That, for me, I pray for, for that forgiveness from them. But, there's certain things like, can you even really approach certain things? Can you really go out? And that must come now in the form of me living my life a certain way.
I think so, because you can't go to all those people now because it's not going to happen. But if you can see that was another version of yourself, you've changed now. You not that you've even changed, you've released all the shit, and now the true Jeval is coming through. Your your more authentic self.
Yeah.
The authentic self doesn't have to please other people.
Yes.
You're content within yourself, whether someone likes you or not.
Yeah.
That's a difference there, you know.
And you have to be sort of, especially with boundaries and where you fit in and how you fit in. I've had to learn a lot of ways on how I fit in, firstly with myself and then with the people around me. And my family is a big thing, like knowing how I fit in with them, to be there for them, because a lot of the time, even with the things I do, it takes me away. Then I feel to myself like, oh, I really need to be spending more time with these people. They're not just people to me.
And prioritizing them as well.
And
Because
finding the balance.
It's a balance. Like you go partying. I mean, I've got a family. I spend time with my family mostly. That's number one. Family is important, and friends are also important, but family is important.
Yeah.
But I know we've digressed a little bit.
Yes.
Take us back to the music.
To the music.
But I can see I can see you're on quite a journey. But before we do the music, I want to ask you something, because you told me something interesting the other day. If you want to tell us a little bit, something happened to you at Bloom. You were saying you had a bit of a shift of sorts.
So again, because after going into the facility and coming out, I mean, my last festival prior to that was White Rabbit, which is actually happening now
this weekend, eh? Yeah.
So White Rabbit, thank you, White Rabbit, because that's where the Bush Prog found me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Found the rabbit in the bush. Or the bush found the rabbit. I don't know.
I need to find this guy. I need to find this guy. He found me on this, it must have been the Sunday morning, and about like 3 a.m, and I'm sitting by myself, just
chilling,
taking it all in. And the music's off, it's dark. And he comes around the corner and he finds me and he's like, "You gonna listen to some music?"
But you don't know this guy.
I don't know him. Maybe I know him now.
How's it, bro?
I'm just sitting. He's like, how's it, bro? Like, you want to listen to some music? And I'm like, of course. So he comes and he brings 2 speakers and a set of decks. And I'm like, who is this?
While you're chilling there, dude?
Yeah. And then he brings 2 speakers and a set of decks and he just starts hoing this music. And I'm like, what is this? And I just get tired, it's 3 a.m. I'm tired.
Yeah, for sure. You haven't dosed.
I just stand up and I start dancing and I'm like, what is this?
But you couldn't help yourself.
It's Bush Prog, bro.
It was too good.
Just hits me with it's Bush Prog. And I'm like, what? And I was there with a good few. I mean, we know a lot of people in the scene, but I went with and that is another member of the group, which is Liam. And I'm like, I need to find Liam, but the sun is still down and I see the sun start rising and I run through the camp.
Because you want him to listen to this. Like, where's Liam?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I'm sorry to everybody that's sleeping, but I need to find my mate. And I find him and, we run. I'm pulling him, like, dude, come quickly. And he thinks something's wrong. I'm like, dude, just come. And we get there and this music plays and we just start dancing to it together. And it's like, wow. This is incredible.
So it's like, you know what? At Twilight, they might come and flip and tell you to turn your shit down. Remember, they confiscate stuff, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you
come in, like, send the security,
No, but he wasn't playing it like it was just me and him chilling there. And then
so it wasn't
one
like
or two
he was
other
hitting
people.
a big fat jaw.
No. Okay. I've had that experience as well. I'm also like, bro, guys, I also want a jaw, but that's a bit loud.
It's like 3 a.m. time. So no, carry on.
Yeah, so that's when the music found us. And then...
So who was this? Like, he just had it.
I need to find him. So if you watching this video...
you don't even know this guy.
I still don't know.
He just started playing and you were like, Bush Prog, and that just like...
Yeah.
If you remembered anything from that night, you remembered the name of the music.
I remember that music. I mean, again, I've been exposed to so much of... And that event was drum and bass and psytrance.
Yeah.
When I go to a fezi, I love drum and bass, right?
Yeah.
But when I'm at a fezi, I will always be on the psy floor.
Psytrance is it's nice. Yeah, it also pulls you in,
that's
it's trippy. It's trippy. It's trippy.
It's beautiful.
Psychedelic, dude. It's psychedelic.
And thereafter, so after White Rabbit, that's when I went to the facility and I was there for a bit and coming out and I was very reluctant to go into those spaces again.
Yeah, because you're a little bit like,
people, places, things, right?
ooh, this familiar thing. Am I going to fall back again?
Afraid of myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%, dude.
And
So it takes a bit of courage again now.
and I went to the first one that I went to was last year. Conclave had a 1 day at the joint.
That's the drum and bass
yeah
setup.
yeah. So I went for that, and that was really interesting. Just again being exposed to the space, and I was like, cool. But the big one was Bloom. And
So did you go, like, give us some background? You went with some friends, or
so
what did you do?
Also, there was so again, a lot of my friends are part of the scene.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Quite a few of them were going to Bloom initially, anyways, and then they invited me, and then there was another group of my friends that were planning with decor for the venue. So I got offered to help with that, and that's how I got in. Very thankful to Nick and his team for everything that they put together.
That was amazing. We were there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see,
we were there, and we were doing some
were
interviews.
there. It's
We
all
were
the
interviewing some of the DJs and stuff. It was cool. Yeah.
And just setting the intention that I set prior to going there again, and listening to what Bloom stood for and the space and all of it. And on the Saturday morning, at about 5:30 in the morning, I mean, we got there on the Thursday, we did the setup, did whatever. Saturday morning at like 5:30 in the morning, we awake. Well, a friend and myself were awake, and we decided to take a walk and bump into another friend. So that was Alan and Sydney, just for reference, guys. We walked down to where they had the burn structure, and
down at the water.
yes,
there,
the Phoenix.
Yes.
And I wrote some intentions.
Okay.
And there were 4 things that I put down there, which was health, wealth, love, and family. And all of those aspects, I mean, health holistically, wealth holistically, it doesn't just mean monetary things.
For sure.
Love,
more than just cash.
Love holistically, like to share love, to be a beacon of love, and to love easier and be less quick to anger. And then family, that's not everybody has their families, and not everybody's families are nice. I know a good few families that everybody has their issues, right?
Yeah, for
so
sure.
Just the things around me, and when I say family, I consider my close friends, excuse me,
Kind of part of
that-
your family
yes.
in that circle.
because we've been through a lot together.
Yeah.
They know me they know me for my purest me. And I go to Bloom, and this is where I interact and I meet with a few other people that have been quite pivotal as part of my journey, and part of those manifestations that I literally put into the universe. Those are the things that I wanted to attract. Those are the things that I was hoping to manifest.
So
And
do you
grow.
see that things came after that?
Everything I've asked
Yeah.
for has been given to me in
Okay.
abundance. And like I said at the start of it, is now also just asking for the strength to be able to manage everything that I've asked for, and it's been given, because it can
No, that's
also,
brilliant.
everything happens at once, and then it becomes so overwhelming.
And
right?
also, you don't expect it. When you don't expect it and you look back, then you can see
I
the things
expected,
that
I just
happen.
didn't expect
Were
it
you
to happen so
expecting it?
quickly.
Okay. Nothing wrong. You know what? I didn't even put something on that thing.
I did.
Did you?
I did.
Can't even remember what you put on.
There was also something to do with family and love.
Oh yeah, I didn't put anything. But anyway, that
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It worked. But there's something you're leaving out, because you met some people there
Yeah.
and they've been assisting you.
Yeah.
Share a little bit about that.
So I met somebody that I manifested, just a person for me. Not relationship wise, it's not a romantic thing.
Yeah.
But I asked to meet her, and I met, and again, it's all, now this is all tied to the feminine side and divine feminine.
Yes, the blue.
Because this is what has manifested since then, and it's all the feminine aspects. I mean, my masculine side has been quite okay for a while, but just getting in touch with and the nurturing, the loving, the caring side,
So it's kind of balancing there.
and then finding the balance, right?
Yeah.
Because we're hard as men. We always
No,
are.
for sure. We always put on that hard front. No, for sure.
And I meet these a group of ladies, and this group of ladies, they have been very, very, very pivotal in helping me to get to this point. They've allowed me to see myself again. They've allowed me to work on myself in a safe space that's guided, that is...
Are they directing you? Or how
I would
does that
say
work?
they work with
Are you going
me.
to kind of a workshop, or is
for
it a
me,
one-on-one kind of thing, or how does it work?
There are workshops that we've done together. However, our connection to each other, I feel, is more like something like a soul tie.
Okay.
The things that they have helped me with, I mean, yes, my family, and I love my family. My family does everything for me. But the way they have literally come into my space where they've helped me at that degree, unconditional love. And that's what I feel like, if I'm able to help the next person, even if it, again, back to the oneness, people forget the power of the one. And just having one person maybe believe in you, or allowing you to have that belief again in yourself.
Yeah.
Because again, it needs to come from inside.
So what is this stuff? What is this treatment? What is it?
So it's a lot of introspection, right? It's a lot of...
Is it helping you to see your stuff and process your stuff?
Yes.
Like on that level?
Yes. There were parts, in terms of from medicinal perspectives, I used to be on very hectic pharmaceuticals.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was diagnosed with bipolar type 2.
Jeepers.
And
And now you off it,
yeah,
and it's fine.
I think it was also just what was happening around me, I also had a bit of experience with the plant medicines, so some different plant medicines that assisted in just making this possible.
Like ayahuasca kind of thing?
Just different plant medicines.
Don't be so shy, man. You're being coy here. No one's going to see this.
So
I'm an ayahuasca.
Only Russell does ayahuasca like he drinks tea.
yeah, I mean,
Not so bad.
was that what you were drinking?
Yeah, you know what was in that tea here just now, bro?
Yeah. So look, I know that I would just say that it's plant-based medicines. That it's not pharmaceutical based, and it has helped me to with my healing journey.
So it helped you to turn inwards
Yes.
and deal with emotions. I mean, there's tears involved here.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the healing is coming, the crying, getting
I
that
find
stuff
it very
out.
hard to cry,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And in that situation,
I'm so thankful.
because I'll tell you, I'll just touch on it quickly. And I never did plant medicines and stuff in my spiritual journey, but I used to take, at one stage I was processing a lot of stuff, emotions, and they were coming up. And I'd take music, like you were talking about Radiohead. There was one album, Radiohead, I'd play this and I'd bawl my flipping eyes out.
Yeah.
Dude. And that stuff just used to help to
Get the
release it, and then, it wouldn't last for days. It would be like for maybe an hour, and you'd feel better. You'd feel lighter because all that and I don't even know what those, I didn't try to figure them out. They just were coming out.
Yes.
Do you have that afterwards, after you've had this, like you have a bit of a session with them, you might find a few days later, you're listening to, I don't know, some sad song and suddenly something's triggered and you release stuff. Does that happen sometimes?
Yeah, the music for me also, like I said,
it hits the emotions.
emotion. So, especially after my grand passed away, that was a big one. So if I had to listen to John Denver or Elton John, specific songs,
would bring stuff up.
I would actually try and listen, so I could get it. So I could also hear her singing the lyrics still.
Sure.
I could still feel my connection. I could still see her sing,
That's
like, you know what I'm
it's
saying?
incredible, yeah.
And that's where, even for the word nostalgia, I often ask people, what does music remind them of? Even if it is just a happy moment in that time. Maybe it's not, because not all music takes you back to a happy place, but the happy music or whatever takes you to that moment. So again, I feel that the music really did help me process my emotions. However, even with the medicine, like helping me process deeper emotion.
You think it's and it's traumas as well. You're
This,
working
yeah,
through the
all
deeper
those,
stuff.
oh Lord, things against myself, like why, like especially like the self-sabotage. Why do I keep doing this to myself? I'm hurting myself, and then I'm hurting the people around me. You know, it's really like, what am I gaining from
because
this?
it helps with someone to guide you a bit. Because if you don't have a professional, you're not able to access that stuff.
That
It's too
integration,
deeply buried.
oh, that integration, I know that they did studies even with Albert Hoffman's patients, or the psychiatric patients that went under the treatments, that they would have to have somebody that was there to sit. And
Yeah.
so a lot of things are misunderstood, and especially with the integration process, if you go through certain experiences and you come back, even if you've just had those deep realizations and you've let it out and you've cried, and now to integrate back into the space, and like I have to be around these people and still forgive myself, forgive whatever happened around me, forgive the other people that maybe played a part, and then also ask for forgiveness. Because like again, like I'm saying, I have either subconsciously or directly impacted other people's lives. And how is that now in my karma?
But also, and I'm sure you must see this, Jeval, is that
Yeah.
once you start sorting yourself out, everything around you starts changing.
Yes.
Some friends you'll still keep,
Yeah.
some you'll lose, and there's no problem. It's part of life, because now your energy is changing, your frequency is changing, because those emotions are being released, and it's actually you're evolving like energetically as well.
Precisely.
And you're just not going to be in the same like that energy field around you has changed. So some people aren't going to resonate
Yeah.
with that but sometimes in that process you see it as a negative. Oh no, I'm losing my friends, or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The true friends will be there still, and it's because you are shifting.
Yes.
I
There's
mean,
a
I'm
big
sure
shift.
you've seen part of that happening
There's
already.
a big shift, and
you know?
in the universe and the Earth's heartbeats and frequencies changed. There's a big shift with the people that are expanding their conscious state of mind and trying to raise the vibration. And I feel that from working from heart space, that is something that I am trying to live by and trying to help with and play my part.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I think at this point in time also, if I have no connection to anybody else, at least I have the connection then to myself, and I can be alone with myself now and love myself.
That's a
look in the
big deal.
mirror and tell
That's a
myself,
big
I love
deal.
you,
No, that is a big thing. To be able to be on your own,
Yeah.
but you're not lonely.
Yes.
Because you feel content.
Yeah.
There's a sense of peace inside. So, and that doesn't mean you're not going to interact with other people, because you still are, because
Yeah.
we're social.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, if everyone works on themselves, that affects the whole anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The whole of society, the whole planet, because we're all connected.
Yes.
But so anyway, back to Bush Prog.
Yes.
So where does it originate from?
So from my understanding, so it's a form of
It's a form of a psytrance. Is it psytrance?
it
What is
forms
it?
part of the trifecta and the trinity. And for me, I work in threes. Right?
Okay.
And 3 is a very significant number for me. And Bush Prog is an amalgamation of psytrance, techno, and house.
Oh, house as well.
Yes.
What has it got? In what sense house? Like
There's
what? Like
elements in it.
not lyric,
No.
more beatwise, or
Yes,
or what?
just the structure, the beat patterns, some of the melodies, how it's influenced. And those are 3 amazing genres that I love. It forms part of a branch of Psy-Tech. So like psychedelic techno. And it's more like, okay, it can go really hard, but there's more minimal earthy elements around it. There's cyber elements around it. But the way that the progression happens keeps you engaged the whole time. So for
you
me,
mean like the
it's,
peaks and the troughs, they kind of feel.
for me, it's the
Yeah.
third porridge. It's the third porridge in Goldilocks. It's just right.
The third porridge,
It's just right.
the prenutro.
It's just got the right amount of everything. And what happened, again, I'll go back to Bloom. This person that I was part of my manifestation and meeting her, and I sit with her, and I've played this song, I can't even tell you how many times for people. It's called The Filthiest of Three.
The filthiest of three.
Yes,
We'll
it's...
play
That sounds
it's-
filthy. After this, we're going to play it,
Yes, it's... And the three of us.
dude. Actually,
and-
maybe during the podcast, you bring it in a little bit so people can hear what the filthiest of three is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, it's
sure.
a little...
Depending on licensing and
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
see if I can get permission.
Okay, well, what is
because-
it?
So
Is it funky? Is it sexy?
it's just again, it's how can I say, it's just the exploration of sounds that come together in the most perfect way, that takes you on the most beautiful journey, that by the time of it you've reached a point of elation or
Yeah, you like
ecstasy or
you're
whatever.
screaming, bro.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, how does this song exist? And so it's part of a compilation called Astral Zucchinia that is released through Universal Tribe Records. They are a record label out of Australia.
Okay.
And this is, from what I understand, the Bush Doof, which is the Bush Techno. Bush Doof originates partly from Australia. And two of the composers or the producers of the song, one is Cyano and the other is Cooney.
Okay.
Yes.
Cooney's a producer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the song and that compilation itself, we've played it time and time and time, and I played it, and I was like, yo, it would be so cool to bring these guys here at some point to Joburg. I mean, I don't know if they've ever been to South Africa. We've been
let's
following their
connect,
music
let's
for a while.
connect. Yeah.
There's a few other artists like Adama, Makaba, Xenon Records. Xenon Records, mwah, all the tribal earthy stuff. Yeah, dude. And
Because
so
you're also talking about you're the Kalias Kintala and what are they?
yeah, there's a
That is part of Mukaba. And
there's
Yeah.
a good few artists.
I love that stuff.
And then we also found Alpaka Music. So these are, because listening more to their music, we saw what other labels they released through, listening to a bit more of the labels, and this is now where the magic starts happening.
Okay, so did you connect with this?
So this is the magic,
This guy.
and this is the
manifestation,
is the universe,
bro.
The manifestation, how it all ties together through the universe, through sound, through connection, through me taking on this journey in my life.
Okay.
And thereafter, after Bloom, I'm chilling with Liam, and we've got a lot of this music, and we have a lot of friends. I mean, we could have went and started DJing drum and bass a long time ago. We could have done, even with the techno, we could have gone into
They're all
those.
related. You could have got involved.
We could have gotten involved, but something was
Yeah.
just keeping us. But something about this music just spoke to us, and we're
Okay.
like,
And there was a connection.
you know what? We just want to see like what it sounds like just mixing. And we meet with now who's the fourth member. So now you've heard about Dagan, you've heard about Liam. Liam
Yeah.
was my neighbor, and he is a lot younger than us, than the group. But he was like the me in my groups growing up. And he is just, one day I saw him and he asked me about a plant, and yeah, the rest is history. I adopted
About a
him.
plant.
adopted him as our love child.
That's cool.
And yeah, he's such a groovy lad.
That's
you
cool.
know, we really have high expectations for all of us, but you know, just the way he slotted in and the part that he plays for all of us, and
So there's 4 of you, huh?
There's 4 of us.
Yeah.
So now when we want to play the music, we meet a 4th member who is Michael.
Okay.
Michael has been loving music. He told me this story from 97, and it was actually at ESP that changed his life to get him into music, and he's been DJing, and he's really incredible. He is so skilled at what he does. And we speak to Michael. He was playing at this venue. So I'm naming whatever I'm giving names to, I'm also acknowledging as part of the journey, because these are all the things that have helped us.
100%, dude.
So he was playing a gig at a shop called Smoky Dreams in Blagauri. And we spoke to him, and one of our friends, Julian, helped us arrange for us to actually play there. We asked Michael if we would be able to play on his decks, and he said sure. And Liam and I, on the 22nd of November, could have been the 21st. Last year, we decided, okay, fine, we're going to play this music. And it was just us, and we played, and just the connection and the way it communicated through us, I'm like, yo, this is incredible.
And the people, did they connect
this is
with
incredible.
it?
Well, what happened is my birthday was in December, and my birthday was on the 13th, and which was a Friday, but I thought,
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Auspicious, dude.
I'd spend that time with my family, and so on the 12th, we arranged a party which was called Into the Swamp, which is the first.
Do you remember we saw that, dude? we went to Carfax for a jaw.
Yeah.
And like the next week, I think like you said, you only had like a week to set it up or something. And I saw this Into the Swamp you did it with Nick Greater, whatever the case is. And I just had a jaw, so I was like, no, I'm not going to another jaw now. But it looked interesting.
So
Tell us more.
So the first Into the Swamp was at Smoky Dreams. It was literally just for my birthday.
Oh, was it before the Carfax one?
That was
Sorry,
in
I'm thinking about the
December.
Carfax one.
This was in December.
Okay, because the other one was in like Jan or something.
In Feb.
Oh, Feb.
On Valentine's Day.
Oh, yes, okay.
So what happened was, we wanted to play the music, and it was
And why is it called Into the Swamp? What is that? That sounds like kind of swampy, bro.
Yeah. So
it's got a swampiness about it.
we have this.
I don't know what the swampiness is. What is that swampiness, dude?
We have this thing since the first Bay Safari, where just a bunch of our friends, we are just screaming out, "Get out of my swamp!
Get out of the swamp!
So,
Get out of the swamp!
Get out of my swamp!" So so we're like, okay, let's change it. We can allow people to enter now.
Oh, that's funny, dude.
And some
swamp.
of the stuff is so earthy. So especially with how the international scene is, like the bush stuff is really, really, and in Cape Town and stuff. So it's quite outdoors, and you want it to be
stompy
earthy,
kind of.
you get that.
Like a little bit barefoot and getting on down.
To the swamp.
Yeah, into
Getting
the swamp.
swampy
Yeah,
there,
very
yeah.
swampy. But like the how can I say, the lighter side of the swamp. So there's we know that this music can take you into some spaces, but we also trying to promote a good, safe environment.
What do you mean some spaces? What is that? What are you implying?
It can go really dark.
In what, like why? Because I know, I mean, you mean like dark, like
Very
as
dark
in...
space.
Check, is it like down tempo?
It's quite a few.
It's a bit few
BPM
notches up.
Yeah, but I'll play some more
because
stuff.
when people are drawing, they don't necessarily want to go dark.
No, some people do.
I mean,
It's
some
just
do.
Some just come back to the light. So just have the
I do
balance.
enjoy, I suppose, more vibing
Yeah.
myself.
Yes. So there's different variations. So the first Enter the Swamp, I mean, I can show you. I'll show you the flyer for it. And
We
then
must put it on.
Yeah, let's check it out.
we
You must give us that info.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we had that, and Michael played on the same nights. Our other friend, another Julian, Cash Brax, who's a DMB DJ, he also played a Psytrance set. So we had a really good turnout with our friends And after playing the music and seeing everybody's reaction, we're like, this is incredible. Maybe we could just do this in between, like just to play for our friends. And so December was a very interesting thing. I did some journey work in around just after October, November. So certain things happened to me where I felt like I had this calling in my life to pursue a certain path and to be able to help people help themselves the way I've been helped. And December comes, and on the 19th, so this is now after my birthday, which was on the 13th, we played on the 12th. On the 19th, I see a post on Instagram. There's so many things that happen. That post was meant for me to see. And I see that Sayano, who is one of the producers that we follow, really, like, there's a good few of them. So like Sayano, Kuni, Dragota, a few other guys that we really follow, right? And I see Sayano puts a post that he's going to be in Cape Town doing a workshop. And I'm like, dude, he's coming to South Africa.
Yeah,
you know, cool. I was saying the filthiest of three. I've played this song for so many people. I spoke about trying to get them here at some point, maybe in a year or two. And I'm like, okay, he's coming to South Africa. So
opportunity, buddy.
Yeah, so I tagged my friends, just like, hey guys, let's try get him. They're only coming to Cape Town. That's what I said. And he's like, hey, if somebody and he responds, and he's like, if somebody books me, I'll
come up to Joey.
I'll come up to Joburg. So I tag all of them again. I'm like, guys, make a plan. But obviously now, again, not thinking that it will happen now. Because I know, and I'm like, Feb is close, you know, Feb is quite close.
And you're thinking, maybe in a year when he's back or something.
We're trying to say, we need to save money for this, you know, like this is something that if we want to do it, like we have to, where am I getting this money from?
You still got to set up, you got to have a venue, you got to have, I mean, there's stuff involved.
All these things. Yeah. And then, so the 21st, so the 19th, the 21st, I do a very big introspection journey. And I can't even tell you after that, like, so I put this thing in the back of my mind. I'm like, okay, I know they're coming, cool, I can't do anything about it. Back of my mind, January comes, you know, things are still carrying on. We do a space on the weekend of the 24th, and I am, again, doing some introspection work. And I get a response from my mate, and he says, dude, contact them. And I'm like, okay.
Let's just do it.
And I contact them. So I'm like, okay, well, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
So Friday was the 24th. The 25th, they responded. Or maybe, that weekend. I know that was that weekend they responded. And then sorted everything out in the following week with them. I spoke to Nick. He helped us get
kind of pull something together because
the venue and stuff. Because Carfax is also
he's been doing it forever, and Carfax art dig.
Carfax is also a very, you know, like I said, for our upbringing, I mean, it holds its status. We were very happy also, I mean, to do something with Nick and Mel. You know, they're really people we look up to in the industry as well. And then Daniel, who's Pause.
Yep.
Daniel.
He's our China.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
He's such a cool act.
So, you know, I spoke to them, and within 2 weeks we managed to put Into the Swamp.
I mean, it's pretty, and you even had like, I mean, you had like the poster and the thing was looking good, dude.
So that I can say, when you have a good team and good people you're working with, and you to help create the vision.
There's a commitment to that, because you could have still been thinking about it, dude.
It's a lot. And thereafter, I mean, that was Feb. And,
but so that had something happening in Cape Town. Then he came, you arranged, and he came up. He's probably never been to Joburg.
It was the
probably
first.
not,
It was both of their first time
in Joburg.
So it wasn't just him. I didn't realize that Cozy Jeff, who is Cozy, who is the owner for Alpaka Records, or Paka Music record label. They were doing a world tour, and they were actually going down to Cape Town to play at Habitat.
Okay.
So he happened to be with us, Oak, or what?
They were together, and then I emailed them, and then we spoke, and yeah.
Did he also play? Did they both play?
Yeah, we got both
so
of them.
you got a double whammy there, bro.
What?
It was a big deal, eh?
Because, I mean, we've just also, like, Alpaka Music, we've been playing their music for a while, you know, like, to everybody we know, like, even after...
Jeez, I wish I'd gone now, bro. Fuck.
Well, guys, this is the next best, this is the next beautiful part again of the magic, right?
I heard this, yeah.
So here's the next part of the magic. So for us, even in the time frame, it was a successful event for us.
Because it was short. I mean...
Very short
you
notice,
know,
but-
often these things, 2 months ahead, they're planning them.
Everybody that
or
pulled
3
together,
months.
there were, whatever we got provided, like thank you to Jaina and Greg as well for, we had this beautiful stretch that was part of our decor. Our decor was really cool.
Did you put like kind of like a...
Very immersive, very earthy,
like
very
planty,
Yes.
flipping...
A swamp.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like dark, but
Yeah.
that place is kind of dark in itself already. Yeah.
So
that's very cool. And how was the turnout? I mean,
it was
it reasonable?
decent. It was decent.
Okay.
We
And the people, did they
were so happy.
Were they like giving you high fives, bro? Because I didn't know that music, dude.
Yeah, you know, there are some of the DJs that do play some of it in the scene, but there hasn't been events that's really focused on it. So we did the first of its kind in Joburg event. So
and it promotes them as well, because if
we were so happy,
so unheard of in Joburg.
we were
really,
so happy
eh?
because, you know. And also, why is it only Cape Town that's having nice things?
I mean, fuck it. Joburg's actually... Listen, Joburg's got something about it, dude. To come and go and draw in Carfax.
Yeah.
It's an experience.
It's
told him
another
as well,
experience. Cape Town is beautiful, etc., etc. But Joburg's got like these balls here, dude.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And I told him as well, it's part of Joburg rave heritage, you know, or part of the Joburg music scene heritage. Carfax.
Listen, for 30 years that place has been going.
Precisely. So we also need to, again, just acknowledge and give thanks.
Or longer, maybe longer. Probably
Give
longer.
thanks to all the spaces.
Yeah.
And just so happened after that, you know, having the chats with the team, having a chat with the guys from Alpaka as well, and it's like, this is, you know, we really love this music. That's all it was. All we wanted to do is share this music with the people and just play it, and, you know, have a space where we can do it.
Yeah.
And we have, in the last month, we have been announced as ambassadors for Alpaka Music
Jeepers,
Records. So we are their South African and Joburg-based ambassadors. And there are a few good South African artists that are also signed to the label.
Okay. That's exciting, eh?
Yeah, so
Sure.
What we are doing now, we're having an event next week, Saturday, on the 3rd of May, which is going to be at the new venue that we are partnering with, which is High Grounds Boulevard in Ilovo. And we know the team, I know the guys from there for quite some time, Kai and the team.
Is it a nice space?
It's a beautiful space. It's more of a high-end cafe for...
What is it, a restaurant? It's like a cannabis club as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are going to be doing an introduction to the Bush Mob, because as we understand, I mean, from December to now is a very short time, and a lot has happened.
Jeepers, dude, that's not even 6 months.
Yeah, and a lot has happened, and we have 4 members that we want to showcase. as part of the group. This
Yeah.
is everybody has, as much as when we play our collective sets, we actually work our sets around each other, but now they have a bit more freedom to just play what they truly enjoy.
Yes.
And it's going to be really interesting because thereafter we are bringing through the other part of the filthiest of three. So we've had the privilege of having Sayano here.
You had the filthy two. Now you got the third.
We had Sayano here. We had Sayano here. Gabe, thank you so much. We had Sayano and Jeff here. And now we're getting Cooney. And
So
Cooney,
he hasn't been here yet.
Cooney,
Yeah.
and it's his first time in Joburg.
Sure.
It's for our Alpaka Music Ambassador launch party. And we feel very privileged in this moment to be doing this. There is, as much as we got all of that done in 2 weeks, there's a lot more moving parts at the moment. So we are literally just trying to make sure that we're doing everything right. We are trying to create something long lasting here because we see this as, we've got actually another thing that I'll tell you guys about. That these are things, it's just, again, it's rooted in love, love for the music, love for ourselves, and love for each other, love for the community.
And you're obviously promoting it, etc. Well, especially the guy, this one, and the guy who's Cooney, who's coming out.
Yeah.
Because you obviously want to get as many people as possible involved, etc.
Yes. And
just to come and party.
Again, the unity in community. You know, there's a lot of people that I know that I think the last time Cooney played in South Africa, one of my mates flew down to go watch him because he didn't come to Joburg. So now we have the platform and we're bringing these artists through the collective of our association to the music label.
Is he going to Cape Town as well?
He's going to Cape Town first and he's going to be there for a bit. But he's making a mission from Cape Town. He's buying a bike there and driving through to Ethiopia, through Africa. A 15,000 kilometer trip that he's going to be documenting. It's quite kiff.
Well, that is a mission.
This oak just comes here.
He's just driving to Joburg.
And he's like, I'll pit stop there in Joburg.
Yeah. So he's in Mauritius at the moment. He went through to Indonesia first and he's playing a few gigs in Mauritius and then he's coming here.
That's incredible.
So yeah, he's going to be here. Hopefully we can get you guys to also have a chat with him.
That should be awesome. We were chatting, come to the club.
Yeah, please
chat
do.
with him.
If you guys are free next week, Saturday, just to come through and actually check the space, please do.
And then when is the second party?
On the 31st of May.
Oh, it's the end of the month.
Yeah.
What is it, a Saturday?
It's a Saturday,
Okay.
yes. So that is going to be, that lineup is very nice. We also got Zandre van Zyl, who's going to be closing. He is...
I haven't heard of him. Just tell us a bit about him.
Zandre, he's also a producer and DJ.
Okay.
He's been with this sort of producing this music, and a lot of the artists we follow, he's got quite a good few collaborations with them. He's also produced on a compilation with Cooney. So he is going to be closing on the night for us. It's also his birthday on the 1st of June, so it's a little birthday set.
Yeah, it's got a...
And then so it's really, really, really gonna be putting a lot of time into the song choices and selections. You'll hear a good few of them next week, but the set for the 31st will be completely different.
Yeah.
So
exciting.
Very, very exciting times. And then not to forget, so Liam and myself are going to be representing the Bush Mob at Carfax once again. Also in May, on the 24th of May, so the week before.
Okay.
We are going to be
playing... What is that? What
does
that do?
We are playing at a gig called the Techno Invasion. So it's Techno Invasion 6. And this is hosted by DJ Blade. He is somebody we've also really looked up to in the industry for a long time. We actually found him playing at ESP. And we would go to ESP just for his sets.
So he's been around.
Yeah, we invited him for Enter the Swamp as well. Like, we try to extend invites to a lot of people that are pivotal in our exposure and just people, again, that we looked up to in the space. And yeah, he's gotten us on Liam and I will be
That's
playing
flipping awesome, dude.
for that event as well. So really, really cool things that's happening. After May, we will be taking a slight bit of a break. We've got 1 or 2 other things lined up, but we'll see. And then September.
What's happening? I know it's a while to go, but what's happening? What's happening?
There is a very big. Maybe I can do this.
You got
on a
some secret
follow-up.
information here, bro.
I can definitely say that we are bringing through somebody that is quite known within the genre, known here in the scene. He's also released through Alpaka and Xenon Records, and we are having an exclusive that he will be playing and doing his album launch
Oh,
with us in September. So he's going to be playing, I think, a gig or 2 in Cape Town. And then, September is
you don't have
coming
to give us a name, but where's he from?
He's from Mauritius.
Oh,
And
really? Okay. Cool.
his name rhymes with...
Seashells.
I'm even trying to think now it rhymes with Krakota.
Dakota.
There is just maybe 1 letter that you need to change there, 2 letters and no 1, and it could give you.
Don't give us too much.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, don't give too much information.
That's enough. But guys, again, considering everything, and here, we're not here to go and be or come up as challenges against other events in the scene. We respect everybody. We know what they mean to the community. We still support all of them because they've supported us. And it's all of our friends, for most part,
Yeah, and
that are
also,
either attending or DJing.
Jeval, it's all compliments, man.
Yeah,
I don't like just one genre.
yeah,
I like lots of genres.
yeah,
If I go to a Joel at Carfax or one of those parties,
Yeah.
and there's 3 or 4 different dance floors, and I can enjoy all of them.
yes.
Try this one, try that one. I think this Bush Prog thing is exciting.
Yeah.
I like psytrance, and maybe it's a bit more of a earthy,
Yeah.
sound-driven,
It's
grounded
more
kind
minimal.
of. Am I right?
Like,
Organic, not
I
really
mean,
organic. Is
some
it a
of
bit
it
organic?
goes up. Some of it does go up to like the 140 plus. So don't get it wrong. Like it can really go. But again, the elements and how it's produced
Yeah.
is totally different.
Because I also at the end of the day, I don't like the fastest stuff because you can't always move to that fast stuff.
'Cause-
you want stuff that you can move to as well.
With the sci-tech as well, I mean, it does form, like I said, it forms a part of sci-tech. But the sci-tech elements and how the sci-tech is got a certain drive to it is completely different. So as much as we still say Bush Prog and then we'll put sci-tech next to it, it's just so that I'm influenced still by the psytrance, I'm influenced by the sci-tech. So part of my set specifically, I will include 1 or 2 tracks that are a bit more of the harder
because
bouncy.
we listened to something interesting a week or 2 ago. We had a DJ here and he was playing hypnotic techno.
Oh, yes.
Which I didn't really know what hypnotic techno was.
Yes.
But it was super fucking trippy.
I have a friend named...
And I quite enjoyed it. I'll be honest, I enjoyed it.
I have a friend named John T.
Something different.
So John T is twice shy. He's also quite known in the industry, and he does live productions of hypnotic techno.
There's something also there, you
Yeah.
know, and it's trippy. There's an element that gets you going, man.
Yeah,
That's why they're all related.
exactly.
They're all related.
It all comes from one source,
Yeah.
and everything, even the house, everything comes from. Again, let's go back to the one, and we know that this music allows us to connect back to a different part of ourselves. I mean, a lot of it, like I say, some of our sets are just going to be the tribal side of it. And then the other sets is just that bouncy, groovy.
But you're talking about the tribes, and we've spoken about this before, just going to these parties is kind of tribal in itself.
Yes.
People coming together, dancing is tribal, dude. And what I really enjoy is the way this music can take you into on a like dancing.
Yes.
You're moving without thinking about it. It takes you into an altered state, and that altered state is kind of a natural thing that's everyone has that potential to experience,
I think,
and especially with that kind of music.
I think people forget that it's ingrained in us again from the heartbeat, from the time began and we were going into our space as music and singing and connection through movement of energy in your body by dancing. It is a tale as old as time.
It's ancient, man.
It's part of us.
It's in our genes, dude.
To the world. It just, so many people find it through different music, and this is where we find it.
Yeah.
We understand that this is also raising a vibration, and it's for people again who have a expanded conscious state of mind. It's not for everybody. Not everybody resonates with the frequencies.
No, of course, it's not for everybody.
But it's some really groovy, tasty, slightly
and there's
faulty.
but there's a spiritual element to it.
Yes.
Definitely there is.
And we know that a lot of people have been going to the Jewels a certain way for a long time, and we want them to still come to the Jewel, do whatever you want to, but actually have the experience of the music more than having to use substances or whatever to get
because
to
if
that
you just
state.
focus on the substance, you're not truly appreciating what that music's doing.
Yeah.
But if you bring if the music comes first, you're coming from a better place, a place of like you're more conscious about what you're doing.
Yes.
No, not just there to be fip and high and fucked.
Yes.
But do you know that music? Well, I'm sure you're aware of this, but the African drum beat is in all contemporary music.
Yes.
Including electronic music.
Yes.
And I mean, we're in Africa here, my bro.
Yes.
This is where
humankind.
this is where it originates.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And that's proven. That
Yes.
beat is in there, dude. And
It's it's beautiful, and
it's a powerful thing in itself.
that's why we feel that, especially for South African market, especially for Joburg, this is, and especially for what we're trying to promote, because we want to actually introduce, and so the companies is FUHNMedia, which is the company that was co-founded by myself and my mate Aiden, and then Harmony and Beats. There's Moonsky Creations that helps create the magic. Hello Goji or Hi Mamas that helps create the merchandise. And there is other elements, we've had some good sponsors that have helped us to get your Ubunia Consulting. Thank you, Abby. The Chronic Eatery. Thank you to Tristan. These are all people that have helped us or spaces that have helped us. And going forward, so what we try to promote, I mean, it's in the name, fun media. We want to introduce the fun elements.
Have fun, dude.
Let's have fun with it. Let's have the play elements, a big thing, the flow elements, the flow scene, we have to be so thankful to them.
You mean more with
when
the fire dancing,
outside,
etc.
inside,
for sure.
how do we use
beautiful.
Indoor elements, using mapping, using a connection between what is the technological sides that we can implement, because we want it to be more immersive. We want you to have a more fulfilled experience, that when you leave there, wow, I had this experience here. The only place I can have this experience again is if I'm...
And I want to go back there.
Yes, and it's fun, it's light. Again, we do play a bit of the darker music, but we're not dwelling there. We are really trying to create a space that people can come through, have a good time, have connection.
And when they leave there, they're feeling good.
Yes, have fun. I want face painting. I want coloring books and this and
for
that.
sure,
Pathway.
dude. Yeah.
If you want to call me a modern day, because that's what people are asking for.
Yeah. It's so exciting, man. Yeah. So Russell, you're going to put all these infos and stuff on the link. And is there anything else you want to share before we
come draw to a close?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I want to firstly say thank you to the both of you. Thank you, Russell. Thank you,
Andrew. You've been great. We've enjoyed it.
Thank you for creating this platform that we can also, I can tell my side of the story in a safe space. And to people, I think the main thing there is help available to people that are going through real issues and struggles. I personally, if you find me to be a person that you can reach out to, please do. If you find anybody, I think what we lose is when we connect to other things, we lose the connection to ourselves, and we need the connection through to other people. Let's bring that unity in the community. Let's share the love. Let's share the healing. And let's enjoy the music.
Exactly. And we're going to see you on the dance floor.
Yeah, come scut a bit.
Skit, China. That's a Benoni word, by the way.
Scut your best.
Maybe it's not. Listen, my man.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you. You're a blessing, brother.
Bless
Thank
you
you for
guys
all
too.
you're doing, eh?
Thank
Russ,
you.
thank you, buddy. Please
Cheers.
like and subscribe. Now.
Thank you, Innate State.
Thank you, man. That was fun.